We got Gambit. That is right. We have Gambit. I know that this has been a hero that I've very much been looking forward to, and I know a lot of people online have been really looking forward to because he is just incredibly so freaking cool. It was just announced that we're getting a new hero for Marvel Champions, Gambit, that is coming next February 2023. So Remy LeBeau is a thief. In his alter ego, he has a 3 recovery with a 6 hand size and 9 HP. Although he has one of the coolest alter ego abilities in the game. Thief Extraordinaire allows you to exhaust Remy and look at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. You then get to choose one to discard, you put the other one top, and based on the boost icons, you remove threat from a scheme based on how many icons that has on the card. So not only are you getting threat mitigation in alter ego, which is something that we have been deprived of in this game, we are also getting a little bit of scrying. So we know what's coming, we know what the next boost card is, or if you're about to deck out, what that encounter card is going to be. Absolutely incredible ability. It does cost a exhaustion for activation, but it does also help because he's not a huge thwarter on his hero side. We're going to get to his hero side here in 1 second, but he also has some really cool alter ego cards, which really kind of rounds out his alter ego kit. So the first one that I want to talk about is called Thieves Guild. It's a 1-cost support. It says after you use Thieves Extraordinaire, which is Remy's ability, discarding the 2, you get to remove 1 threat from a scheme. Okay, however, if that removes the last threat, then you get to draw a card. You should be able to time this out because you'll know how much threat you're going to be removing, and then you know it's a +1, so you can make your decision based on the boost icons of if you are about to defeat a scheme or remove the last threat from the main scheme, that you can set this up so that you can remove that last one. Probably, it seems kind of difficult just kind of conceptually to pull off, but I think with Gambit, his ability to remove threat in alter ego and control the board state is going to be a little bit easier to pull off than what I'm thinking. Card draw plus more threat mitigation in alter ego, but that's not all. He also has Creole Charmer, which is an alter ego thwart event. Mutants do love their alter ego abilities, which I am absolutely a fan of. I've loved that the design team has moved into exploring the alter ego realm, and that we're getting this alter ego side just completely flushed out with, all of the upgrades and supports with like Danger Room, Cerebro, all of these things that we saw in the Mutant Genesis release, and we're starting to see more mutants just add on to that alter ego support. So, huge fan of that. But Creole Charmer says remove 3 threat from a scheme. It's a 2-cost event, so pretty good. Okay, like threat mitigation. However, if it removes the last threat, confuse the villain. So this also ties into your decision making. So if you have a scheme with 4 threat out there, you can use his ability, the Thief Extraordinaire ability, to get that down to within 3, so that you can combo it with the Creole Charmer. Having Confuse inside of a hero kit is so incredibly strong. This also could be pretty good with one way or another, especially in solo play. So if you're pulling one way or another, you probably have a pretty good idea of what side schemes are in the deck, and you know if there is one that has 3 or less, or something that you can get 3 or less, and so you can pull that out knowing that you can trigger this card. So you can roll down, hit this with the 3, confuse the villain, and then you're safe in alter ego form. Really cool kind of threat mitigation in alter ego form, which does offset his hero side. So let's go ahead and take a look at the hero side. Gambit has a 5 hand size with a 1, 2, 3 stat line, and I do love me some 3 defense heroes. I absolutely love this stat line. It's probably my favorite across the entire distribution of stat lines we've seen. But I just love 3 defense, which... I want to jump ahead in the video to talk about this, but I can't. I'm gonna do it right, but I am so excited for his protection build. Anyways, he actually has 2 hero abilities on his card. So he has Charge to card. So you place 1 charge counter on Gambit, and then throw to card. So whenever you play an attack event, you can remove up to 3 counters, and that attack deals +1 damage. So this can get a little game breaking if paired with the correct cards. So I'm thinking of like multiple sources of damage. So we see this in like 1x1 and melee, where you're dealing 2 instances of damage, and that +1 does alter both of those instances of damage. So if you remove 3 from melee, it becomes a 6/6 rather than just a 3/3. Home technique, it makes it a 9/9. If you play aggressive energy, it's a 10/10. It's just like, it kind of starts to blow up out of just kind of out. It just gets crazy. It just gets crazy. Anyways, the other side that I like to look at is if there are cards that want to kill or defeat a minion or a enemy, like Stealth Strike or Hard Knocks, this ability does allow you to roll into and make sure that you do get that kill. So Stealth Strike that deals 4 damage can be a little awkward to pull off, especially with some of these higher health minions. So now if we have a 5 health minion, we spend 1 charge counter and Stealth Strike is now doing 5, and then you get to remove that threat. So really good flexibility, and just really it kind of really opens up the deck building, and that's what I'm really excited about, because I think Gambit is going to just be incredible in all of the aspects. Honestly, I think Gambit is probably going to be one of the stronger heroes that we see in this game, at least so far, because we haven't even started talking about his cards. Let's dive into his cards. Charge card is a 2-cost attack event that says deal 4 damage. So already mediocre payoff there. However, remember, you can use throw to card to increase that, and then based on how many counters you use, you get additional benefits. So if you remove 1 counter, your attack is now doing 5 damage, and it gains range. 2 counters, 6 damage and piercing. 3 counters, it's 7 damage and overkill. And all of these effects are cumulative. So if you do 3 counters, it's a 2 for 7 damage with range, piercing, and overkill, which is absolutely insane value. You are losing the 3 counters, however, they are there to be spent. So, cool. Let's take out some minions with some overkill, and then we can, if we run that with a follow through, then we're just, we're hitting super hard. He has another attack event called Royal Flush. It's a 3-cost attack event that says place 1 counter on Gambit, which allows you to place more than 1 counter during your turn, because charge the card is a once per round ability. So Royal Flush gets you that second one. And then it says deal 0 damage to an enemy, 0 damage to an enemy, and 0 damage to an enemy, which sounds really bad, but you're spending your charge counters with throw to card. And so if you spend 1, it's 1/1/1, 2/2/2, 3/3/3. Combine it with an aggressive energy, it's 4/4/4. And then Bahamut from the Discord, which you should join the Discord, links is below. It's brought up that you can combine it with Warrior Skill, and it becomes a 5/5/5. So this is 3 instances of 5 damage, or probably more realistically, it's going to be 3 instances of 3 damage, which can be split up or dealt to 1 target. So it's so much more flexible than a swinging web kick. And then with the 3 charge counters, it is more powerful than a swinging web kick. So minimum 3, maximum 15, I guess, but probably 9. And you can kill a minion and then hit 6. And so depending on the game state and your board state, you can really flex this into being exactly what you need at the right time. I like to think about it is like it's like a more flexible Dance of Death from Black Widow's kit. Dance of Death is a 1/2/3, and then it costs the exact same, but with this we can change it to a 2/2/2, 3/3/3, and sometimes with Black Widow maybe you need a little bit more damage, and this allows you to get there. So I think this card is going to be one of the key cards, especially because he is getting you that charge counter. So absolutely really cool card from his kit that looks not super great right off the bat. Alrighty, so let's get into why I am probably most excited for Gambit, and that's his defense build. His defense build is, so far what we've seen, 2 cards kind of lead into him being an excellent defender combined with his 3 defense. Natural Agility is a 0-cost defense card that says when you defend, put 1 charge counter on Gambit, and then you get +1 defense for each counter. So that's not limited. His charge counters are not limited. You can only spend up to 3, but you can have 10 of them on there. So now you're defending for 13. Oh, that's so cool. So cool. I hope we get 2 or 3 of these cards so that we can have an epic perfect defense build, and we can start like throwing in charge counters to build up so that we can then hit them with the cards with the attack cards that we need to defeat the villain. Because you get to place that charge counter, when you defend, it's a minimum of a 4 defense. If you're running protection, it's probably a 5, and then you probably have charge counters built up. So you're going to be defending for 6, 7, which is going to be very easy to trigger all of your unflappables, your hard to ignores, everything that you need to not take damage is going to be really easy with this card. The one downside is that you do have to already be defending. However, you get Gambit's Guild Armor, which says that after you defend and take no damage, you get to ready Gambit. So right there leads me right into the perfect defense strategy stuff. The even crazier thing about this is that with this 3 defense, even if you're not running protection or you're not running defense cards that beef that up, you can trigger this off of a minion attack and absolutely be sure that you are not going to be taking damage and get that ready. So it feels kind of like Quicksilver in this sense, where you get a free defend every single turn, especially if there's a minion on the table. Already, he has a really nice defense build already in his kit, so he can be able to flex into some of the more aggressive aspects without worrying about taking too much damage and protecting his small health pool. The charge counters do sound fairly difficult to build up at first, with charge the card being limited to once per round, but we've seen cards already like Natural Agility, which adds a counter, Royal Flush, which adds a counter, but he also has Molecular Acceleration. This is a resource card that has both a energy and a physical printed resource icon on it, and that when you spend it, you get to add a charge counter to Gambit. So this allows you to not run any of the doubles. I'm assuming we're getting 2 of these, by the way. That's my assumption. This was card printed, I think 14 out of 15. So I'm thinking that we're probably getting 2 of these. If we only get 1, then what I'm about to say kind of changes slightly. But basically it allows us to not need to run all of our doubles, meaning the double resources, strength, energy, or genius, because we can get really overcosted at that point. So if we sub those out for his kit resource card, it allows you to open up space and add more cards into his deck to maintain that 40 or lower deck size limit. So this is really cool because not only does it give you that double, it gives you a benefit. You can use Beast to go grab this card, which is excellent. We talked about with Beast being really good going to grab hero-specific resource cards. This is one of those. So you can go grab this, use it to spin, get a counter. Going to be incredible. The other thing is if you do want to run Strength, Energy, and Genius, you are able to kind of up that cost curve a little bit and start running some really expensive cards in your deck because you know you're going to have the money to pay for them because you're basically running probably 5 doubles at that point. So a lot of money. Just a ton of money. So I'm really excited to see how his economy works out because like Colossus, like Ironheart, like a lot of these heroes that we've seen recently that have these counters that are an additional resource to manage, the cost can get kind of wonky, and I think Gambit is going to be really good being able to get these counters and then spin them. I'm really excited to see how it all kind of plays out. The last card that was spoiled for Gambit today was Rogue. Rogue is his signature ally. It's a 4-cost ally, which is a little steep. However, the cost gets reduced by 1 for each charge counter on Gambit. So using Molecular Acceleration, if you spend it, you get a charge counter. You probably already have a charge counter if you're in hero form from your charge to card ability that you've used that round. So at that point, Molecular Acceleration pays for Rogue by itself. Or if you have built up 4 charge counters, which seems like it's going to be fairly easy to do, especially if you are running the strategy of sustain, 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 kill, which is a very effective strategy in Marvel Champions, you're probably going to have built up a lot of these charge counters, meaning that you can play Rogue for free from your hand. And she's a good ally. She is a 2/2/3 stat line with toughness. So really solid, overcosted at 4, but probably absolute most expensive you would ever pay for is 3 because you have the ability to add a charge counter that turn to play for her. So I think of her as a 3-cost ally, which will come down with more charge counters, making her a very, very, very good signature ally. So like I said, I'm probably most excited for his protection build just because his perfect defense is going to be something that's going to be really easy to manage. Also, cards like First Hit and Hard Knocks are going to be really nice to use to mitigate and either give yourselves toughs or kill minions before they are able to attack you. And you can up those with the charge counters so that you can make sure you do get the kill to hit that triggering condition. I think protection is going to be an absolute blast with him. On the other side, I think Justice is going to be so good. I think Aggression can be really good, maybe more so in a multiplayer game, because he has a lot of aggressive abilities already built into his kit, and maybe so with Justice already with his Alter Ego kit. But when I'm playing solo, I like to look where my weaknesses are and shore those up, or go heavy into the strength. And I think he could go heavy into Aggression and has a really good rush build. It's not my favorite type of way to play, so that I'm more excited to lean into the protection with his high defense and his perfect defense strategy, or with Justice because of his one thwart. And if you are rolling down, he has a lot of ways to mitigate threat in his Alter Ego, but Justice can help with the one thwart and kind of shore up all of the weaknesses that Gambit has in hero form. Gambit seems crazy good. He actually seems insanely good. I know some people on the Discord have been talking that he seems like he is probably going to be the strongest X-Men hero, and I think that's hard to dispute. Gambit is coming with a Justice Precon deck, and we are getting a couple new cards like Breaking and Entering, which is a card that you can only play if you have the Spy or Thief trait, and it's a 2 cost for 3 threat removal. What's kind of nice about this is it can be played in Alter Ego. It does not have a hero action keyword on it, so if you have the Spy or Thief like Gambit or Black Widow or Spider-Woman, you are able to now roll down and use this in Alter Ego form. I don't necessarily think this is game changing, but it is something that I may look at and including, probably not in Spider-Woman because I want to be playing all of my aspect cards in hero form, but maybe in Black Widow because her Alter Ego ability is so very good that it would be nice to be down there. Also, I think Gambit has a really, just stay in Alter Ego form the entire game and let the allies do the work type strategy that I'm kind of interested to see how people build around that. The next Justice card that we got is a 2-cost upgrade called Operative Skill. This comes in with 3 uses and has an interrupt ability that says whenever you thwart, remove 1 counter and then 1 additional threat from that thwart action. So I like how this can target multiple events like with multitasking or even the odds, and so now multitasking is 3 and 3 if you pay for it with a mental, which is a lot. I mean, it's a 50% increase in that one card, which is really strong. And then I think even the odds is starting to get playable in solo. I gave this card so much crap when it came out just because in solo play it doesn't work out that well. Remove 1 threat per player from each side scheme. Then if you defeat side schemes, then you get to deal damage. But if you combine this with Operative Skill, you combine it with Passion for Justice, that means it's 3 from each. And if you have a huge side scheme scenario like Red Skull, maybe it could be done. I'm still not sold on the whole even the odds, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to start thinking about how we can use that effectively in solo. The last Justice card that we saw today is a reprint of Stealth Strike, which we have already talked about in this video being really solid in Gambit's kit. We did get some new gray cards, and the gray kit for the mutants is just getting so strong. The first one that we got is called Mutant Education. This is an Alter Ego action. This may be one of the best Alter Ego actions in the game for some heroes. Alter Ego action, choose 2 identity-specific cards and shuffle them into your deck. Then, if X Mansion is in play, you get to draw a card. I really like how cards are starting to play off of other cards. So, X Mansion being the souped-up crew quarter for X-Men that anyone at the table can trigger, so awesome ability there. But having that on the table, making Mutant Education a lot better, allowing it to basically replenish itself. Mutant Education is a 0-cost card, so you get to refill your hand. That's cool game design right there. That's really cool. Also, Cyclops loves this card. I don't see Cyclops not running 3x of this card. Cyclops, if you're in Alter Ego form, which Cyclops really does like to be in Alter Ego form, you can shuffle 2 of his upgrade tactics back into his deck and then use his constant training ability to pull 1 of them out. If you have X Mansion in play, you get to draw a card. So very flexible for Cyclops, very flexible for getting the cards that you need so that you can manage the table well. Then the last card that we got announced today was a team up with Rogue and Gambit, probably confirming that Rogue is the next hero to be announced. I know that there was a lot of speculation with the dividers that Rogue was probably going to be the next hero. I was about at 90% there, but then getting this team up card pushes that to 100. We're getting Rogue as a hero. It is called Beauty and the Thief, which I love that name. I think that's incredible. It's a 2-cost card to deal 4 damage and remove 4 threat from a scheme. Incredible value, especially in multiplayer, once we consistently have a rogue hero on the table. Just all around very, very solid card. And then what makes me super happy, if I was not already happy enough about this, is we are getting a new modular set called Exodia. So they made this switch a couple of packs ago where they're starting to include mod sets in some of these hero packs, and I am a huge fan of that. I love the modular sets, and the ones that come in the hero packs seem to be very unique and very difficult, and this one is no exception. Exodius is an Acolyte minion that says he's fully devoted to Magneto. His stat line is a 1/1/6 minion with Retaliate 1 and Villainous, which seems not horrible. It's bad. It's not the worst. However, he does have an ability that says when he gets revealed, he gets his Psionic Shield. And that card is bonkers. Psionic Shield bumps the minion's attack +1 and scheme +1. And then it says when that minion would be defeated, you heal all damage from it and discard Psionic Shield. So you basically have to beat him twice. If it's attached to Exodius, he is a 2/2 villainous minion with 12 hit points, which reminds me way too much of Dark Phoenix. Speaking of Dark Phoenix, don't let Dark Phoenix draw the shield. Oh my gosh, we would be in so much trouble and the game would end. I would probably pack it up for a week. Anyway, I just got shivers thinking about that. Anyways, to top off the mod set, we're getting a side scheme called Herald of Avalon that comes in with 6 threat. And it has a hazard symbol, and then it says when it's defeated you have to go reveal Exodius, which brings the shield in again, and so you can't let it sit there. That hazard symbol will kill you, and when you defeat it, Exodius is going to come in and try and kill you. I just think that this mod set just feels really synergistic, and I'm excited to play this one. I think this is going to be something that we throw into a future monthly challenge because it feels really cool. It feels really cool. I like the design space that they're using here. So thank you so very much for watching. I cannot wait until February to get Gambit and probably Rogue right alongside of him to the table. I think they have designed the X-Men so very well. Every single one of them seems super strong and super incredibly fun and unique to play, and Gambit, it does not break that mold whatsoever. So thank you all for hanging out. If you like this video, if you want to see my video playthroughs of Gambit and Rogue when they do come out, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will get those up pretty much a couple days after they get dropped because you know me, when they come out, I'm playing them. So thanks for hanging out. See you around. Have some fun with X-Men. Peace.